Hey everybody, looks like we're live. Welcome to another YouTube Live Q&A session for June 2017. This is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back everybody. I was at Vidcon all week and it was amazing. I had an industry pass, and what that means is I got to go to the sessions about the YouTube algorithm, and those were given by Matt Gillen of Little Monster Media and Derral, you guys all know Derral, of Creatus. And these were some really intense sessions about the YouTube algorithm. In many cases, they confirmed things that we've talked about here in other live streams, things I've talked about on the YouTube channel, but they went deeper. And there are a lot of things that changed. This one is going to be a tighter live stream than we've ever done. I'm actually going to start a timer. We've got 45 minutes, and I'll answer your questions at the end. But I want to run through some of the main points and also how I'm going to be applying and how I've been applying these things and taking advantage of the algorithm. But I'm also going to explain a few things about how some of your favorite creators like Logan Paul are taking advantage of this. Matthew Patrick from Game Theorist did a really good breakdown of this in a recent video of his, but it ignored something that I think is really important. He talked about watch loops, but not session loops, and I'm going to explain how that works. Also, there is something else you guys need to be fundamentally aware of. There is a thumbnail algorithm, and I don't think many people realize that. I don't think I've mentioned in the past beyond saying that YouTube understands how thumbnails work, and I think I talked about it briefly in the presentation I did on visual branding at ClamorCon that I posted. So I'm going to be explaining that and going into detail. And I'm going to also be reading you guys some information from an engineering white paper done by Google, and I'm going to have to explain a few things, but I'm going to try and keep this simple. I'm going to keep it brief. So I'm going to take questions at the end. In the meantime, please share this in Facebook and Twitter, and please make sure that it's getting attention. Make sure that people are watching this, because this is going to help all creators grow if they understand some of these basic things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and skip partly to the good stuff here. I'm going to break down the key takeaways that came from this presentation, and I'm also going to tell you my thoughts on them, and then I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Let me go ahead and get ready to jump into that. Keep in mind, I'm going to be looking at things on my screen and reading them to you. So if I'm breaking eye contact or I'm not looking at your comments, you'll know the reason. It's because I'm going to be reading some very important information off. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So one of the things that you have to understand about the algorithm and the people who did these presentations. Derral did a case study because he owns over 17 YouTube channels with Creatus and manages dozens more. Matt Gillen, formerly of Frederator Networks, used to be in charge of programming over there and figuring out things like this, and did extensive case studies across their channels and videos. But also, since forming Little Monster Media, he got access to the data, the anonymous data of over 1,000 channels, and that's how he was able to break all of this down. He also looked at the 2016 Google released white paper called Deep Neural Networks for YouTube Recommendations. YouTube recommendations is the recommendations that show up on your YouTube homepage instead of it just being what you subscribe to, and it's based on user behavior. And I've talked about this before. I've talked about YouTube using artificial intelligence and machine learning. I've talked about the fact that your YouTube homepage is completely different than mine, and it's not based on who we subscribe to. It's based on the last few things that we watched in a given day. So this actually confirmed all of that. And this also confirmed other suspicions I had about how recommended is working and why roughly 35% of my traffic is from recommended videos, but also that optimizing your videos for search still matters, because YouTube and the algorithm is setting a history token and a search token that they are using to determine what your user behavior and preferences are. And also they are profiling you to find similar users like you to distribute the same videos to. I've kept telling you to think about it the way that you think about Amazon and Netflix. this confirmed everything that I've been saying. So here are some of the big highlights for the presentation. You guys might remember that I used to say that videos, if you really want to know how long your videos should be, that between 6 and 12 minutes is the sweet spot. Well, according to Matt, being he had access to much better data, he says that videos between 7 and 16 minutes, which is pretty close to what I was saying, between 7 and 16 minutes perform 50% better than videos that are longer or shorter. So 7 to 16 minutes is ideal. Now, I've come up with some workarounds for animation channels, and I will do that in another video. For channels that have to do short form content, I will have some recommendations at a later point, not in this Q&A and not in this video, but 7 to 16 minutes, that's the sweet spot. That's why YouTube vloggers, why YouTube gamers, why cooking channels do very well in YouTube, why fitness channels do very well in YouTube, why how-to videos do very well in YouTube. It all makes sense if you think about this 7 to 16 minutes perform 50% better. It makes total sense. Videos with an average view duration of 5 to 8 minutes receive the most views. I can confirm that because that makes sense given my top performing videos, which are my video on 10 ways to make passive income, some of my Adobe Premiere tutorials, some of my 10 tips list videos. This is why top 10 videos and top 5 videos and top 7 videos, why list style videos do extraordinarily well, because list style videos promise something and it's easy to get people to watch for 5 to 8 minutes and get that average duration time. Because if they're promised a certain amount of tips, they try to stay for everything they were promised, or they get through a good part of the list and they come back. So that actually makes a ton of sense, that if you can get people to watch for 5 to 8 minutes on average on a video, that will get more views. So that's what you're targeting. That's what the sweet spot for scripting and planning your videos and the length of your videos. And so there are strategies to figure out how to make that better and to optimize the videos for watch time. So if you're optimizing for watch time, this is very important to you. Something that I've talked about very briefly before is that there's no ideal length of a title, and Matt confirmed this. There's no correlation between views and the length of a title, the number of tags, or the length of the description. However, there's a strong correlation between the number of tags and the number of created suggested videos that appear in the suggestive column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my YouTube channel. I'm going to show you something interesting. And we're going to use, we're going to look at TubeBuddy partly for this, and I'm going to show you this here on my screen. I'm going to pop it up in a minute, and you're going to see what I'm talking about when we're talking about these creator suggested videos that appear on the right-hand column. Because it's going to be important. This is going to be something that is going to probably make a difference for you guys, and why I recommend TubeBuddy and why it helps with the titles, descriptions, tags part of this. So let me show you guys my screen real quick. So I've minimized, and we're going to click on my latest video, which is about my thoughts after 1,000 videos here on YouTube. So shortly, TubeBuddy should be populating some data here on what my channel has going on. But before it does that, which usually takes over part of this right-hand column, I want you to look at something. I'm only guaranteed this one slot on what's up next, and that's me. So this is me, that's 2, and there's a lot of other creators here. That's 3 though, that's 4, that's 5 that are me, that's 6, that's 7. Let's click show more. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I've taken up the far majority of the recommended videos on the right-hand side. Do you guys see that? I've taken up the majority of the recommended videos on the right-hand side of the suggested column for my own video. And if you guys are going to my videos, you'll see something similar. Now, hopefully TubeBuddy's stuff is going to populate over here, and you'll see how that's working. So at any given time, I can do that, and this will tell me the average creator suggested right here, and it's 6 out of 19. That's on average, and it depends, but usually that's what I get. So if you guys go and you look at my video, you'll see that. And this is what I like about TubeBuddy, is I can see these things. Now you'll notice that I have a lot of tags in the description, and for what this particular video is, they're mostly going to relate to me, and I've done that on purpose by putting my title name and my YouTube name and my actual name in there, and some other things that specifically are going to target my videos. But in recommended, it also is populating videos based on things that I typically watch and things that are related to me, and so that makes a lot of sense. And this is a new video. I uploaded this today, so you can see how that works. So if you put that into context with what they're saying about the algorithm and recommended videos, this is how you're going to increase your session watch time. This is how you're going to increase your overall channel watch time. This is how you're going to create session loops and watch loops. Now, there are other ways to do this, and I'll get to that in just a second here. Let me just close out that screen. And so this is something you have to learn to take advantage of, is the number of tags and figuring out how to hack your tags in a way that pulls up your related videos and not just other people's videos. You want to relate to other people's recommendations. That is a big part of this deep neural networking thing that the YouTube algorithm, the machine learning, the black box wants to do. But the more of your videos that you can get people to watch, and the longer you can keep people on YouTube, the better for your channel, and the more your videos are going to be recommended. And I'll explain in a little bit how other creators are taking advantage of this. But, I just want to make sure that you guys are still tracking, still following along here, because this is important. The cornerstones of the YouTube algorithm are as follows. You might want to take notes on this. You might want to write this one down. I'll give you guys a quick minute in case anyone wants to grab anything to write this down, because I'm going to explain to you the key components of the overall YouTube algorithm, basically what the corners of the puzzle look like, so that we can work our way into the center. Because once you know what these main corners of the algorithm are, you can take advantage of it, and you'll notice that I've been actually doing it for a while, and it makes sense. And so I'll just give you guys a quick second, and then we'll move on, because we still got a lot of ground to cover. But in the meantime, before I get into those, key factors, let me talk really quickly about how Logan Paul and Jake Paul are taking advantage of the YouTube algorithm. The reason, and again, Matt Pat from Game Theorist did a whole breakdown on this, but I want to explain something he didn't. Matt Pat's video focused on watch time and on creating watch loops, okay? And there's also another component of the strategy, because those of you who may not be familiar with Jake and Logan Paul, they were Viners who had millions of followers who made the jump to YouTube hardcore when Vine died. And they're not the only ones taking advantage of this. This explains why React channels actually did really well in YouTube, and why review channels and television review and movie review and unboxing videos, this is going to make YouTube make absolute sense to you by the end of this. So the reason that those things all do very well, and when people do product reviews, especially if it's something popular, or let's say they're talking about, the latest fidget spinners, like why those videos do well, is because YouTube is looking at user behavior and studying user profiles, so YouTube knows exactly what we watch, and it's doing it based on our watch history, but also based on our search history. So both of those things matter, and that's why I have always said optimize the metadata of your YouTube channel, because this is what helps it with recommended and related videos. That part of the algorithm, okay? So when Jake Paul and Logan Paul make videos about each other and they make diss tracks about each other, they're creating this thing where you have to actually watch both videos and go back and forth. What many of you don't realize is that even if someone goes from your video to another YouTube video, it benefits you if they stay on YouTube. YouTube wants people to stay on their site longer. That's what's referred to as session time and session starts. If your YouTube channel is getting people to start a session on the YouTube website and it is keeping them there, even if it's not on your videos, you win. That is the actual game. You win. And we know this in part because not only was it declared by YouTube and Google, but this is an old piece of the Google algorithm. For those of you who are in web development or website design, you remember that time on site is a factor in YouTube and time on page is a factor on YouTube. So if you take it from that perspective, that translates to session watch time on YouTube instead of time on site on Google. It's session time. And watch time, whether it's channel watch time or video watch time or retention, is closer to the time someone spends on individual web page on your website. So that is how that part of the algorithm works. And so when people are doing diss track videos against each other and they're connecting this relationship, people are watching in a loop. They're going back and forth and they are binge watching. It's just like when someone binge watches House of Cards on Netflix. And so that video is doing that. And then if other people are jumping in and making reaction videos, then those videos show up in recommended, and then it just feeds it right back up and creates a watch funnel and it creates a session funnel. This is something that people do in the online business development and online marketing side that is called remarketing and retargeting. It is extremely similar to remarketing and retargeting. For those of you unfamiliar, do you know how when you go and you look for like camera gear on Amazon, like if you guys are in the description and you're, using the links to see what my gear is, if you're doing that, you'll notice that those ads on Amazon follow you from place to place to place. They follow you in Facebook. They follow you all over the place, right? It's a very similar tactic to that, but instead it's following you in the recommended videos in YouTube and on your YouTube homepage. So if you think about it like that, it's a pretty big deal, and it's a very smart tactic. This is also why YouTube news and YouTube commentary and YouTube drama channels perform well, because when you look up the person that is in the headline of their news story, they're getting recommended views and a funnel for that. When you review a fidget spinner or when you review the latest camera, it's the same thing. That was how my Microsoft Surface video ended up performing so well, was because of the funnel that was created from other people, whether it was Austin Evans or Detroit Borg or Tested or whoever. That actually created a funnel and recommended videos for me. When Practical Psychology makes videos on passive income, it funnels to me because it's a related and recommended video. And every time someone watches a video on YouTube that is related to passive income online, my videos show up in that refer and that recommended, and it just keeps funneling more and more traffic to me, to the tune of one video getting an extra 50,000 views per month just off of recommended and related videos, either from it showing up in the homepage, from them searching for something else and then it being recommended because it's the topic they're interested in, or from a related recommended video in the sidebar. Malevolent Elephant, thank you so much for the support. $2 in Super Chat. Really appreciate you. So that is how you see news channels and people like Logan and Jake Paul who make videos about each other, people who do frequent collabs like the Paul brothers do with Team 10, their collab setup. It's a brilliant strategy to collab with people on a regular recurring basis and to make sure that there's some reason for your videos to recommend each other and jump and relate each other, because then you're creating a loop. And it's not just a watch time loop like what Matt Pack talked about in the Game Theorist channel. It also creates a session time loop of keeping people on the YouTube website even longer, which then raises your channel authority and means that you will be elevated and your videos will get more views and more distribution and favored overall by the algorithm. And that's killer. And that's how a lot of these people are crushing it. Again, it's also why unboxing channels, review channels, react channels, diss tracks, news channels, all of these things do well for exactly this reason. So that is how that part of it is working, and that's who's taking advantage of it right now. So I talked about some of the cornerstones of the algorithm, basically the corners of this puzzle, and we just talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to break down what those things are for you, and then I'm going to go a little bit into this Google white paper with you and some more things that I learned from the sessions with Derral Eves and Matt Gillen. So let's go ahead and get ready for that. The cornerstones of the YouTube algorithm are going to be watch time velocity. So that's one. Write that down. Watch time velocity is a fairly big one. That's important. Overall watch time. Session time overall. And session starts. Session starts. And those are big ones. So those are the cornerstones of the YouTube algorithm. And overall individual video retention plays a role in that. You know, you could kind of put that at the centerpiece of this, to be honest. So those 5 things are pretty much the essential pillars of the primary YouTube algorithm. And of course, we talked about how related and recommended videos, user profiles, and user behavior play a role in that. Playlists play a role in that as well because they're going to help tie and connect videos and individual channels together. So you have a few moving parts to work with here, but this kind of gives you an outline of the YouTube algorithm and places you can focus on. So, you know, I want you to pay attention to that. We're calling it watch time velocity because it's not predicated entirely on views. Views contribute to watch time, but overall watch time is more important than views because if the views drop off and you're not hitting the sweet spot of individual video retention time, then that is actually a negative because YouTube is factoring in now a video bounce rate, which means that if you have a video and it's clickbait and people go away, then it's going to, you know, be negative and it's going to go into a death spiral. So you don't want that. So you have watch time velocity, you have overall watch time, you have session time overall, you have session starts, and then you have average video duration. Okay? So keep those in mind as like your 5 essential things. You have your corner pieces here and you have your center, and you can interchange those by priority. Theoretically, that I know they are weighted differently, but we don't know how they're weighted differently and which ones are more important. So I'm going to ask you to just consider them all as equals. I'm going to ask you to consider those all as equals for the time being, just to understand this and just to not neglect anything. All right, so that makes sense. If you missed anything, don't worry. This will be on the replay, and because this is on a timer and I'm literally going to hold to this because I have to finish packing and I have to fly out tonight, I'm going to keep everything as concise as possible. So if you look at your notes, we've got those main variables. We've got watch time velocity, overall watch time, session time overall, session starts, and average video duration. Okay? Saints Vintage, you're asking what the death spiral I mentioned means. The death spiral means that it's dead. It means forget any love being shown to your video. Elise Blanc, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Now, Here is another thing that was brought into play. Frequency of uploads matters because overall channel activity matters as well. It's not one of those pillars we talked about, but plays a role in them. So I really need you to pay attention to that. And I need you to pay attention to what I'm going to say about playlist as well, because they are huge factors that you have to pay attention to. YouTube channels that do 3 uploads a week or more will perform better in the algorithm. That's what the truth is at this point. I know that that makes a lot of people uncomfortable because they can't make that many videos per week, but 3 videos a week is important. Now, I will get into how to do that at some point. I won't cover it in this Q&A session, but 3 videos a week is important, and my recommendation is that you use YouTube Live. You guys have seen for yourself that it can help you as far as Super Chat. So that's something that you might want to take a look at in terms of being able to add to your volume of content. It does improve your session times. It improves your overall watch time, your retention rate. So live video can help you if you schedule 40 to 50 minutes of live video once a week or twice a week. It could really help you. Now, that means that if you do that, it isn't impossible. I see the animation channel say 3 videos a week is impossible, but if you're doing the type of content that's hard on you, yes, it's impossible, but there are ways to get around that. You just have to condition your audience to get used to you doing different types of content to make it easy on yourself. So there's a way to get around that. And again, I will address that in some other type of video where I cover it. But my main point is that you need to look at if you're serious, and if you can get there 3 times a week will get you there faster. You can survive without doing 3 times a week, but it's going to go slower than you might be happy with. So do whatever you can, but put the most out that you can. And again, if you do live streams, you get the opportunity to get super chats. And we had some very generous people donate in super chat. We just had, I'm going to pull it up here. Who did we have donate $50 just now in Super Chat? Oh, looks like I'm freezing up a little. We had Elsie Blanc donate $50 in Super Chat. So you guys see that this could actually help you with monetization. So that has an impact from the algorithm standpoint, but you also have to know your audience, because if you're doing things that your audience doesn't like, this can negatively impact your overall channel health if it puts you into some type of decline as far as the way that the users are behaving. So you don't want to do anything that your audience isn't willing to accept. So just kind of keep that in mind and take some of this with a grain of salt. On the days that you don't upload videos, new playlists are in fact close to the equivalent of an upload as far as YouTube is concerned. So on the days that you can't upload, you're best served by making a new playlist. I recommend making a new playlist maybe twice a week. I think that would help you. If you don't upload frequently, maybe you should do it 3 times a week. And what this will help is this will help with session times, because if your video starts a playlist and you're curating a playlist of your video but other people's videos that cover similar topics to you, then it's really smart. If I was a TV show reviewer, I would be doing that with like Game of Thrones or the CW stuff easily, and it would give me a real great advantage of the algorithm. Not to mention for user behavior, my videos would get recommended more, because by creating these playlists are the quickest hack to your videos being related to other videos to end up in that recommended column and in the YouTube homepage of people who watch similar content, and it increases your session times. So that means that the playlists are the ultimate hack. They really are. Gerard HD grew from 30K to 100K in 5 months following your tips. Thank you so much for the $5, Gerard. Gerard, would love to talk to you about a success story and a case study and find out what exactly helped you go from 30 to 100K in 5 months. Would love to talk to you about that. Hit me up in Twitter. So, yeah, it's a big deal to be able to do those playlists. They will help you in the algorithm. They will help you when you can't do uploads, but they will help you with those recommended videos that ultimately lead to more of these related videos in the sidebar, recommended videos, which can give you a massive spike in traffic. It really works. Mike Polas, thank you so much for the extra $5 in Super Chat. Really appreciate you. Guys, thank you so much for the Super Chats. Whenever you get a chance, please donate to YouTubers that you want to support. Small YouTubers, big YouTubers. It always helps. It always helps, and it's always appreciated. So whenever you can, set aside a few bucks and donate to people that you want to support, that you think are doing cool stuff, that are creating awesome things. So, that is actually a really cool thing to do to support other YouTube channels. So I want to keep this tight. I want to keep this focused on the algorithm stuff because we only just covered playlist, and I need to still talk about the thumbnail algorithm. And the thing is, I haven't even really truly scratched the surface of everything that was covered in these sessions. It's intense. I'm going heavy into this with my mentoring group. It's a private membership website and Facebook group, Awesome Creator Academy. And we've been talking about this nonstop because a couple of us went to Vidcon. I think about maybe 4 of us went to Vidcon. And we've been just going nonstop about what we learned in the sessions. Design course. Thank you for the $9.11 super chat. Should I do an interview? Your viewers might be interested in what I've done with YouTube and my site from 400 visitors to 5K per day via Google. That could be interesting. DM me about it in Twitter. That could be pretty interesting. So yeah, there is a thumbnail algorithm. And YouTube's machine learning, it's actually been around longer than people think. I don't know if many of you remember Google running experiments that shows people thumbnails and things and tries to help them figure out what's relevant. Because that's something that's been going on for years, and YouTube has been scraping the thumbnails, and you might notice that the recommended or auto-generated thumbnails from YouTube have been getting better and better, and they prioritize human faces. They absolutely prioritize human faces. So when you use human faces in a playlist, in a thumbnail, that's actually very favorable because YouTube and Google have figured out that human faces, especially expressive faces, get clicked on more. Matthew Santoro is somebody, he's a Canadian YouTuber who does a lot of top 10 videos. You guys know him. He always has the really expressive face and the big eyes, so that's a real thing, and the thumbnail algorithm prefers stuff like that. You guys are going to see me stepping up my thumbnail game. I'm going to be all kinds of stepping up my thumbnail game, getting back to my Photoshop roots. Hang on. Can't see you guys' stuff. I'm wondering if we have a hiccup here in the live stream. I'm hoping we don't. I'm going to try refreshing just to make sure, but according to Wirecast, we're still going, so I'm going to be operating on that assumption. Yep. All right, still going. Awesome. So yeah, I'm going to be stepping up my thumbnail game because the algorithm really cares about that. And there's a part of the algorithm that, again, I want you to write this part down. Click-through rate is really important. Click-through rate on your thumbnails and your titles is extremely important, and that's why you really need to focus on that, and you need to understand what YouTube is doing with its thumbnails because it's prioritizing everything, by the way, for mobile. Mobile views count for about roughly 40% of 40 to 50% on average of YouTube traffic. So that actually makes a difference, and they've changed how they handle thumbnails accordingly. Some of you might have noticed that they do these thumbnail hover over previews now on the related videos panel and also on the home page. So think about that. You've noticed how they handle end cards. All of those things are extremely important, and so you need to be playing heavily to this thumbnail algorithm. I will talk about that probably in its own dedicated video at some point. I'm still analyzing it and breaking it down, but I think I have an understanding of what it wants. Um, and I've been looking at the top YouTubers who I feel do the best thumbnails that have high click-through rates, and so really strong thumbnails that keep in mind what YouTube wants. Some of them are leaning a little less text heavy. It can tell when there's text in the thumbnail. It can tell whether there's a human face in the thumbnail. It knows all of those things. So I want you to just kind of keep those things in mind, because they are going to be more and more important as this machine learning, as this artificial intelligence of the algorithm, just keeps evolving and keeps learning how we as users behave. So what you have to do is you have to understand how your audience reacts to things. Go back to your videos that have the best average view duration. Go back to your videos that have the most watch time. Go back to your videos with the most views. Go back to your videos that got the most views in the first 48 hours, 24 hours. These things are important. Speaking of the 24 hours, there is a 24-hour decay rate on YouTube evaluating the worthiness of your video, and that's when watch time velocity matters the most. But it also matters in the first 7 days, and then YouTube also evaluates how the video performed over a 30-day cycle. So first 24 hours, first 7 days, first 30 days, all of these things matter. It's not impossible for a video to come back from the dead if you do things right, and if you have other videos that can bump and promote it, and if a spike happens over a 24-hour period where, wait a minute, this is performing better over the last 24 hours than it ever did originally, which is hard to do, but it's not impossible. A video can come back, or a video can be brought to the forefront. This sometimes happens if your video gets picked up by a publication. Maybe it's Vice, maybe it's BuzzFeed. A video that was buried can be reevaluated and re-indexed if there's significant or abnormal traffic to it in a 24-hour period. It can come back. And so these are the kind of things you want to look at. Again, it's not an easy thing to do, and it'll be hard to do it on your own. But getting as much of that watch time velocity in the first 24 hours before the decay rate, which Derral Eves talks about a lot lately, is extraordinarily important. A good title, a good description, a good thumbnail matters. And for those of you who might be thinking SEO is dead, it's not, because as I mentioned earlier in this session, YouTube is doing search history and watch history, and it's using both of these for its two deep neural networks to try to profile individual user behavior. It's trying to find what is Roberto like, and then it's trying to figure out what other people behave like Roberto and deliver them similar content based on those preferences. And so you have to understand how your audience reacts. It's why niching down in YouTube is actually a really smart idea, or at least defining your value proposition, or making sure people like your personality so much they'll watch whatever you put out. Those things are what are going to do it for you. Fast-paced videos that hit a recurring theme or have a strong personality behind them, that have 7 to 16 minutes to them and get people to watch for 5 to 8 of that. That's the key. That's the hook with good titles and thumbnails, and it has to be optimized. The metadata has to be optimized, because that is what's going to trigger related videos for the creator. That's what's going to trigger related and recommended videos on the sidebar of other YouTubers and on the homepage for similar viewers like you or like your audience. So that's what's going on here. That is the breakdown, at least the shorthand of what I learned going to Vidcon, going to Matt Gillen's panel on cracking the algorithm, going to Derral Eves' panel, talking with both of them, and also I managed to talk to 1 or 2 YouTube team members as well, and I've been following the white paper. I've been reading it. I've been doing massive research for the last couple of months, by the way, if not maybe close to last year, on artificial intelligence and machine learning, because I've always known this was the direction it was going. I saw this coming. I've talked about it before. Adobe's doing machine learning. Google's doing machine learning. Microsoft's doing it. Netflix has been doing it. Amazon's been doing it. This is not new, at least from my perspective. I've always told you that it was going to work like e-commerce in Amazon, and that video is a product. I've always said that. It's why I focused on branding and business development perspectives on YouTube and not trends and culture and clickbait, because I know that the robots and the algorithm and the machine learning is going to do all this, and how we behave as users is important, but we have to understand how the machines interpret that, because what you think quality is, a robot can't make that determination. They're making assumptions based on data, so I'm following the data to understand how they interpret the goofy, quirky things that we do, because if you don't understand that, you can make the best content you want in the world and it will get buried. So this stuff is just really important. And again, the big takeaways here are YouTube wants to know how we behaved. It cares about the frequency of our post, and when we're not doing that, making playlists. It cares about video durations. It cares about watch time velocity. It cares about metadata. It cares about suggested videos. It cares about our thumbnails. And so, for the most part, likes, you can throw them out the window. Doesn't really matter. It just tells you what your audience is digging or how you made them feel. But likes, throw them out the window. Not a major factor in the algorithm at this point anymore. Comments, they're important, but in the algorithm itself, not so much. Shares work if they get people onto youtube.com on the watch page, but if you're just getting them to watch in Facebook on Facebook, it actually hurts against you more than it helps, aside from branding. Same thing for Twitter. You'll want to get them off Facebook and off Twitter over to the YouTube watch page for that video, preferably not to the individual watch page, but to a playlist watch page so that they can binge watch your content. So, or content that you've curated with yours into a playlist. So those are the things. That is what you essentially at this point need to know about the YouTube algorithm, and that is how you're going to pretty much survive at this point on YouTube, or grow, however you want to interpret that. We have a super chat question. I'm trying to get back to it. My screen is being slow. Mar Karib, #1 fan China, how to rank normal daily vlog. That's going to be hard, and your best bet is to rank against your own videos by using your channel name and similar topics and using playlist. Or if you can find something to do in your vlog that relates to a trending topic that's out there, that's your best bet, and then optimize your titles, descriptions, and tags for that. That is your best bet if you're going to do vlogging. I mean, at this point, you might as well just find a way to put Jake Paul in the title. And that's just the truth at this point. So, yeah. That's what's going on with daily vlogs. Guys, I have just a few short minutes for questions. So if you have them, I'm going to refresh here. We've got just a few short minutes for that. In fact, I'll take questions for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then I literally have to run. I have to pack for the airport. So I'm going to try and just take those questions here for the next 5 or 10 minutes. So let's see what's going on. Also, if you haven't noticed, I tend to prioritize questions from people who are doing the super chats. Do I do consultation calls? Yes, I do. I do consultation calls. You can feel free to email me or hit me up in Twitter direct message. So that is what's up. And we're having a little bit of trouble with the live dashboard here. It's going slow, painfully slow. Let's see what we can do about it. Hopefully shutting a few things here will help with the live dashboard doing what we need it to do. I missed your super chat. Ricky, I'm going to try and pull it up. Right now, what I'm having is I'm having the browser slow down for some reason. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm going to try and see what I can do to help it along. And we'll just see what we can do here. Because I can see your thing small over in my Wirecast dashboard, but I'm having a problem seeing it here. Here we go. So let's see. I hit 1,000 and slowed. I've upped my thumbnails, tags, and descriptions. I upload weekly, starting to incorporate live video, but retention rate is about 52%. Please help. If your retention rate is 52%, you're actually crushing it. If your retention rate is 52%, you don't need help. You need to keep doing what you're doing because that is amazing. Believe it or not, you may not feel that way, but 52% above average. Like, well above average. So, Ricky, whatever you're doing, you probably need to keep doing it. Yeah, 52% is not a problem. MTB Drop, thank you for the $5 super chat. Oception, thank you for the $3 super chat. Really appreciate you guys. Beanie Draws. Faces and thumbnails is personal branding, but the algorithm is favoring faces as far as the thumbnail algorithm because faces get clicked more. They just have universally always got clicked more. So that's important. Ethan Wands. So the only way to survive on YouTube is by following these steps. For the most part, I mean, it's not impossible that some random anomaly or some outliers, but these are best practices. These are best practices. You can do whatever you want, and if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not going to sit here and quote unquote tell you what to do or pretend that I know everything. What I do know is this. I've been studying best practices and studying the algorithm for longer than most people. And before this, I was a web developer and I was a programmer and I was studying the Google algorithm because that was part of my job in corporate America. And what I know is that 3 years ago, none of you knew who I was and I had 5,000 subscribers and I'm close to 250,000 now. And I don't do the kind of content that gets clicked over and over again. I don't do clickbait. I also don't do a niche down thing. And I've been able to successfully grow my channel and in many cases get more traffic than friends of mine who do. So when I look at someone like Matt Gillen, who studied 1,000 channels in a case study, talked to YouTube engineers, talked to programmers, and was the head of Frederator, and he says stuff that lines up with what I'm saying, I pay really close attention to that. When I look at Derral Eves from Creatus, a YouTube certified expert, and my friend Tim Schmoyer, another YouTube certified expert, Jeremy Vest, and when all of these people are saying the same things, I pay attention to it because that commonality and that thread matters. Now, none of us have viral videos, so maybe our opinion doesn't matter to you. Maybe our opinion doesn't matter to you because we don't have viral videos, but we have consistent, things that happen pretty regularly. We see consistent growth, and we tend to make good money. And people keep managing to put us on stages at conferences, so I think we probably have something. So I think there's something there. So is it the only way? Maybe, maybe not. Just depends on your point of view, I guess. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Don't have human faces, but personally branded ones. Wait a minute. What's going on with the live stream? Hang on, guys. Live streaming is having a hiccup. Let me try closing some more stuff down and see if that helps. Chrome has been acting goofy lately, so I apologize. But I'm trying to read your super chats. Does the algorithm also favor thumbnails that don't have human faces but still personally branded one channels, logo in the corner, same text color? My intuition says that it actually favors the faces disproportionately more. It can favor those things, but I also know that in the talks with who was it? Garrett from Facebook. Their algorithm actually for Instagram and Facebook doesn't favor branded logos, and so I think that faces disproportionately. I'm not going to go so far as to say it penalizes branded thumbnails, but I know it does favor faces. That one's a fact. Clover Tack, thank you for the $5 super chat. No questions for now, just showing some love. We appreciate all you do. Stay awesome. Thank you so much. David Staples, thanks for all you do. Help me pass 500 subs. You're very welcome, David. Design course. I don't use Twitter. Skype me at Dreamache. Okay? So, yeah. So am I saying don't include text? I'm not saying don't include text. I'm saying that YouTube is favoring text less, but if you do a face and minimal text and it's clean, then sure. Yep. Practical Psychology says the algorithm favors thumbnails with higher click-through rates, faces, text, random colors. The psychology of human marketing is when it is needed. Yes, yes, and yes. So all of those things. Text can help or hurt. It depends on how well it's executed. That's why I have to do something on the thumbnail algorithm, and that video will be very interesting, to say the least. So I'm going to keep putting text in thumbnails. You'll just notice me getting very strategic and very intentional about it. So that's my answer. Somebody asked how to get to 100K subscribers. I did a whole video on how to get to 100K subscribers. MTB Drop-In. Thank you so much for the $1 super chat. Really appreciate you. David Staples, you live in Atlanta? All right, awesome. Yeah, I'm moving there. Thank you for another $2 super chat. Yeah, you know, these are some good questions. Yep. So guys, that's pretty much the main things that I want to cover, and then we got in a few of you guys' questions. Dean Cole, yeah, I'm glad to have you in Awesome Creator Academy as well. Quick question: how can you curate without copyright issues? Tremendous question. You can curate in a playlist without copyright issues. That actually helps the other channels. So you can do that. You also could, again, do what Philip DeFranco does, credit people in question in and credit them in a news-like story and use only a portion of it and use no audio. That's actually a very practical thing to do, so I would head in that direction. Ethan, you'll have to watch the replay. I talked about why Jake Paul is successful, and Matt Pat from The Game Theorist also talked about that. So you'll want to watch the beginning of this video, and you will want to watch Matt Pat's video over on The Game Theorist. Andre, you're asking how to get 100K subs. Watch my hour-long video on how to get 100K subs. I explain exactly how I did it when I did it. Purple Passion asked, what about adding playlist versus creating playlist? You want to create a new playlist. Create a new playlist with 6 to 8 videos that all match a theme, and you'll want to do that, and that will help with session time, and it will help if you're doing it intentionally with your videos relating to them. So that matters. Daily Stack, thank you for the $10 super chat. Really appreciate you. Brian McLogan, thank you for the $5 super chat. My A/B test favored my thumbnails without my face. Change my face or go with what's performing? Brian, go with what's performing because it's click-through rate. On average, things with faces have a better click-through rate. But if your audience is performing better without them, then go with what is performing for your audience. And we dance. What about live video length? Is 40 to 50 minutes the sweet spot? That with live video is very sensitive. It's dependent entirely on your audience's demographics and psychographics. So that is important. Hybrid artist, there's articles linked down below if you want to understand session time and watch time better. There are links down below. So you can check those out. It'll give you more context. YouTube is planning to roll Super Chat out in more countries. And if you're interested in tagging, I have a step-by-step tutorial with TubeBuddy. There's also a link to TubeBuddy. It is the secret weapon of my YouTube channel. Go to tubebuddy.com/awesome. If you use code Roberto's Buddy, you get 20% off, and that will help you with tagging. So, yep. So all of those things. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, everybody who donated in Super Chat. Thank you for all the questions. Again, watch the replay if you want to get the full breakdown of my understanding of these things that were covered in the sessions. Again, this could go much deeper. This could go much longer. In my mentoring group, Awesome Creator Academy, which is for online entrepreneurs, we are talking about the Facebook and YouTube algorithm in depth. I've got some exclusive content that I've been putting out there and some more of my coverage from the sessions. So if that's something you guys are interested in, there is an offer for that in the descriptions if you guys want to check that out. And you can just see what we're doing over in Awesome Creator Academy, see if it's a fit for you. We'd love to have you. It's a membership site and a Facebook support group. It is a paid monthly membership, so it's kind of my version of the Franco Elite, I guess, if you will. So we're working with online entrepreneurs there. Would love to have you if that's something you're interested in and you want to go into this stuff more in depth. But guys, that's it for my coverage of breaking the YouTube algorithm and the presentations from Derral Eves and Matt Gillen. I wanted to do this even though I uploaded a video today because I'm on my way to Social Media Day Jacksonville to speak with Carlos Gill and Amish Matauer and all kinds of other great marketers, and so it's going to be great. I'm going to be talking about YouTube branding for businesses, so I'm going to be doing another speaking engagement. I'm going to be gone this weekend. I have some other content that's coming out, so I wanted to do a final live stream with you guys for the month of June before I head off to the airport here in a few hours. So guys, thank you so much. Go out there, create something awesome today. Take care, you guys.